Over the weekend, deputies handled 517 calls for service, conducted 64 traffic stops, and made 13 arrests.
Another busy weekend for the Flagler County Sheriff's Office.
Flagler County Sheriff Rick Staley says 40-year-old Julia Jones was among the suspects.
A female in the F section who was obviously impaired on alcohol and possibly drugs or both was causing his and deputies were called. She resisted the deputies and frankly was very obnoxious, and ultimately she was arrested and drugs were found in her backpack. She was taken to the Sheriff Perry Hall inmate detention. Hopefully when she sobers up and watches the body camera, she'll realize that she needs to change her behavior.
In another case, 25-year-old Christian Smith was arrested for burglary of an occupied dwelling, 2 counts of battery, false imprisonment, domestic battery, and criminal mischief. 73-year-old Edward Duffy Jr. is accused of pulling a knife during a fight with his girlfriend's adult son. He was arrested for aggravated battery with a deadly weapon and is currently being held on $20,000 bond.
Good morning, Flagler County. I'm Rich Carroll. You're listening to Flagler's Morning News on Wednesday, April 24th.
1 in 9 girls and 1 in 20 boys under the age of 18 will be a victim of a sexual assault.
April is Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month, and Family Life Center is calling attention to the effort.
CEO Trish Giacone says sexual assault affects more than just children.
We put in our mind that it's just younger folks, but it transcends age. Sexual harassment is part of sexual assault, and sexual harassment happens in the workplace and costs the country like $65 million. It's not an inexpensive or, it's a prevalent challenge in the workplace.
Giacone says sexual assault doesn't have to be physical.
When we hear the word assault, we automatically assume there's got to be some sort of physical contact. And although that is part of it, coercion is part of it as well. So I can coerce someone, and that can be identified as a sexual assault. And we were talking about sexploitation. We were talking about, again, sexual harassment, threats, intimidation. All of those things could be done verbally to influence a sexual assault.
In addition to advocating for victims, Family Life Center also operates a domestic violence shelter in Bunnell. For Flagler's Morning News, I'm Daryl Moody.
This local news is a service of Flagler County's Toyota dealer, Beaver Toyota, US 1 St. Augustine, here to wow you.
A recent event at the Palm Coast Community Center featuring the Florida Inland Navigational District that helps usher in project dollars to support public amenities and improvements, such as the Powell Parker Park in Flagler Beach and the Waterfront Park improvements. Colonel James L. Booth of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers says a vital project for Flagler County is part of the project list.
Hearing awarding a contract for some beach renourishment projects that have been held up for quite a while. Really excited about being super close to getting that contract awarded.
Booth explains the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers is an important part of Flagler County's water safety, according to the Flagler News Weekly, that includes Bing's Landing, the Marineland Marina, and the flagship Harbor Preserve.
When that water comes off of the watershed towards the ocean, we're trying to make sure that the infrastructure is in place to make sure it moves in ways that is in harmony with nature, but also is not negatively impacting the human environment.
For more on this story, visit FlaglerNewsWeekly.com. For Flagler's Morning News, I'm Karen Johnson.
Women are celebrating who they're becoming.
Women who go through the Women's Voices class find that they have a reason to celebrate themselves. Voices founder Tiffany Ruffino said on a recent episode of Lifeline here on WNZF that it takes a lot for a woman to get up on stage and to speak to an audience. But they do it.
You know that as soon as you walk into that spotlight, that stage is yours and everybody's a guest in your home and you're there to share your story, your voice, and that audience arrived to hear that and receive that message.
She said no matter how much stage fright or nerves, that all goes away with the backing of the other women who are waiting to take their turn on stage. She said that many who've gone through the class get asked to speak to other groups. You can listen to Lifeline here on WNZF, Saturday mornings at 9, anytime on the Flagler radio app. Tomorrow, we'll meet Nina Golato. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm Deb Albertson.
And now you're up to date on Flagler's Morning News. I'm Rich Carroll.